about it.
I'm just going to put up the stream starting soon, text, and turn on some...
Oh, I thought you were like saying to
Feeding the
text us
ducks?
stuff. I was like, what does that mean?
This is the jam.
Why is this one? Aren't there like a bunch? Why do you always pick this one?
Where's what's that one song? Henny
What
and
did it-
Ginger Ale. This is the one. You just gotta wait for it to speed up. It gets there.
What's night driving?
I can't remember what we did when we were...
We did feeding the ducks.
we did feeding the ducks for the Would You Rather? For the What's a Rather? I think I had
Would
the
you
vibe
either?
of it. Would you either?
Ryan messaged me that day after the podcast came out, and he was like, you probably know this, but I want to double check. Do you know that you didn't spell correctly Would You Rather? And for the title, because I said,
no.
Would you either? And I was like, yeah, I know. That's like
You
the
were like,
title
no.
of
It's a
it.
joke. Yeah.
Really?
But he's like, just checking before you like
Yeah.
panic or something. Let me make sure this is off.
I'm so excited to try it. I'm also like scared of getting
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
I agree. I don't think I'll be overwhelmed. I think there's just going to be a lot of parts where it's like, I don't think I'm ready to beat this yet. Which,
Yeah.
in all
making
the
noise.
other from can't beat it, you just don't get to keep playing the
Being
game,
weird.
basically.
Right, where at least this one you can just walk away.
You can just walk away and go farm if you have to or whatever.
But I did find, I think back to the last two games that were hard that I played a lot of and got good at, which Jedi Fallen Order was one of.
Yes.
Because I beat the game,
I didn't finish that either.
And I didn't find that one to be... There was definitely some hard spots, but by the end, much like I'm assuming will happen with Elden Ring.
That's not a hard game.
Yeah, well, I had gotten good at it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like nothing until the final boss. The final boss, I really struggled on.
Really? I'll have to finish it one day because I think they're making a second one, and it is a cool game. I don't. Something must have came up that I didn't finish it.
Can you go to the comment?
Sure. I
like that I'm in the G.
for Fallen Order,
Your face.
I remember the final boss being so hard that I put it down and came
Whoa.
back like the next day and had to beat it.
Whoa.
It was like, and when I mean I struggled, it was like I tried enough times where I said I'm not do this right now.
It's not going to
And
get any
came back
better.
later. Yeah.
Well,
I like
that's okay.
So
I don't like the. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say I don't like the.
Oh,
My problem with the From
you-
Software stuff is usually that if you hit there's so much of that stuff that is you have to beat it to move on. So much of that game is centered around that principle, and I
Right.
just don't.
Well, I never
I don't
wanted
know.
to do the part where like you're on a boss that like let's say is giving you a particularly hard time.
Sure.
There's nowhere else to go, but the bonfire's not by the boss. So
Then you
every
gotta
time you
trek
want to
through
try
all
it,
that BS.
you
Oh
gotta
my
run
gosh.
all the way to the boss just to lose in the first
Yeah.
5 minutes again. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to.
This is not a
wanna
productive
do
use
that.
of my time. Yeah,
you
So-
ready?
I agree.
What kind of class did you make?
What did I take? The
This is
professor?
not a regular discussion, but
Professor.
The
But not like a
professor?
teacher, but I profess.
Oh,
like
I gotcha. Good choice.
Like a church. Or is it
Gossip.
confessor or a professor? I
Gossip
can't remember.
Girler.
Confessor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Gossip girler.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think we should get this show on the road.
I feel like I'm just warning everyone now. I'm gonna need a bathroom break.
Do you need
Sure.
to take a bathroom break right
Always.
now?
I already did, but because it's in the back of my mind, I'm
Yeah.
just halfway
You gotta
through.
chill. I'll probably need one too.
Chill,
Okay.
shoddy.
We're gonna.
Shoddy.
As soon as it's like when you go somewhere and someone's like, "Oh, there's no bathrooms," and you're like,
Well, cool.
Well-
now I need to go.
We got a
Yeah,
problem.
I didn't need to go
Now
until
I'm
you
planning
said
my
that.
escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm already like,
Yeah.
can I wait?
agree.
And so I'm
Now
panicking.
it's time. All right. I will do our podcast intro for anybody watching on stream. Thanks for joining, and we'll get going
Hey,
here.
nice. Joe's
Hey,
here.
Joe. What's up?
Oh, hey.
Hello and welcome to another Date Night D-List episode. Tonight, we are talking about Sahara, the movie Sahara from 2005, starring Matthew McConaughey, as well as some other people that maybe Emily can inform us of.
You don't know. I bet you couldn't
Come
even
on.
name the
Yeah.
actress.
The
Do you know her name?
actress?
Yeah.
Penelope Cruz?
Ben, I'm surprised
Sorry.
that you even.
I got it. Yeah.
Knowing
Ken
him,
gave it
he's
away.
like, well,
Now,
Selena
who's the-
Gomez also has dark hair. Like Ben cannot name
Who's the
actresses.
funny man, though? Who's the funny man?
Oh, the sidekick?
Do you know his
Well,
name?
there's two. There's a second-tier funny man and a
Yeah.
third-tier funny man.
Do you know off the top of your head?
And the boss.
The
I feel like this
Yeah.
this has some big names in it,
It does have
especially
some.
They
for
really-
2005.
Well, and I think the downfall of this movie, so like for anybody who
just gonna
doesn't
wipe
know,
over that.
typically
Moves on.
a good choice for the D-list discussion is box office busts. And I think the
Yes.
problem with this movie was it was too expensive to make, not that it necessarily
Yeah.
I don't
Uh,
think this is necessarily a bad movie,
No.
No,
I don't think it's
There's
good,
definitely some goofy
but
parts.
I don't think it's bad.
When we were watching it, we were like, can we do this for the D list? Does this count?
Right.
Because it
It
doesn't have
kinda-
the usual.
But then it
It's
got goofy.
It got
Does it?
goofy enough that we can talk
All
about
right,
it.
spoilers. I quit at about an hour and 20 minutes. I
Well,
couldn't.
you're
do it.
going to be
I was bored.
excited then.
Yeah,
Not
we
in
were
like
right
a this
about-
boring way, just like this. I don't know. We'll get there.
Well, I felt like we were right about halfway when we kind of paused it and said, "Are we going to be able to say anything about this
Right.
negative?"
Yeah.
And then like it got real wild, and I was like,
really?
"No, this will be
Oh,
totally
man,
fine."
I wish I
This
had
is
finished that.
Yeah, it was enough that it's goofy enough
It
that
got
you don't
crazy.
quite I don't quite
Okay.
understand.
Okay.
So yeah, Matthew McConaughey is Dirk Pitt. And then there's actually a Wikipedia page for Dirk Pitt.
for Dirk Pitt, of course.
I have to stop you already. I know this
Okay.
is your favorite part of the D list. Do they ever say any person's name in this movie?
Oh,
I
like,
don't. Think
I didn't-
not
I
much.
didn't hear a single name for any character.
It's
just,
it was very
that's
confusing. Me
Matthew
writing it
McConaughey,
down. Yeah, I
That's
was like,
Penelope Cruz.
the
That's
boss
Steve
guy.
Zahn. That's William H. Macy. That's Rainn Wilson.
Right. Well,
yeah,
and the problem, like, this is 2005, right? This is Rainn Wilson saying, "I can be more than Dwight,"
he can't.
Yeah.
and he can't actually.
He was okay, but they didn't give him anything
it
to
was
do.
not
still-
his fault.
No.
You can't. It's the problem is playing such an iconic character.
Right.
It's
yeah.
very hard to not just see that. It's not that I see Rainn Wilson in a
It's
different
Dwight.
movie.
I see
I see Dwight
Yeah.
pretending to be somebody
Right.
else.
Yeah.
Right. I just find all of these people are just. This is one of those movies where the actors they're doing it, but
I
the I don't know, something from deep below is not making this exciting. I don't
Well,
know.
this was based off of a book.
Yeah,
this
I didn't
was-
know that. Inform us
Which-
here.
Ben, you're
Dirk Pitt, right, is
Well, yeah.
Dirk
one of
Pitt.
Clive
What a name.
Cussler's heroic
Ben.
characters. So I don't know if any of you guys, and hey Joe, Board to Play, and hey Janelle, thanks for tuning in. I like Clive Cussler books. So if you talk about like that mystery section at the Barnes and Noble, or like romance novels, like junk novels, this is like action movie, the book.
like over the top action,
Over the top.
which is why it does get so like kooky.
And
crazy.
they're always the same. Every Clive Cussler book is the same. The beginning starts with some sort of like ancient mystery, some mysticism of some sort.
Yeah.
In this case, it's the Ironclad, which we'll get to.
We'll
In
get
other
to.
ones, there's like,
I
you
feel like
know,
it's
maybe
always
it's
like a
Native
treasure
American
hunter.
or like treasure
Sure.
related
Yeah.
or whatever. And then there's some like modern situation that somehow is interacting with this mystic ancient thing. And it
Yeah.
almost seems like that is, and then it always turns into, nope, it's some like rich guy doing something
Yeah.
stupid, or it's some nation had a secret submarine. And I love Clive.
It's kind of like
love
a-
Clive Cussler books so much. They're so
But
like
it's kind of like
junky
a
and-
goofy James Bond in a
Yeah,
way.
it's sort of B
You know.
tier.
yeah.
Not to insult it, because James Bond movies aren't necessarily
No,
great
I just
anymore
mean it's
either,
not
but-
as this like I mean, as they're
Right.
supposed to be like sophisticated. It's more of the adventure, like between James Bond and I can't think.
Indiana
Jones. Man.
I always do
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
audiobooks, and I like to listen to the Juan Cabrillo series of the Oregon Files is what they are. So
Ooh.
Clive Cussler has like these series, right? And they each have a different hero. So Dirk Pitt, I've never actually read any of those books, but that's one of his like main characters. The ones I
this-
always have listened to is Juan Cabrillo, Captain of the Oregon.
Juan Cabrillo.
Which is a like a
Cabrillo.
rusty-looking, crappy oil tanker, but actually that's the disguise. Underneath, it's a super
Classic.
high-tech ship with like hydrodynamic drives, that like are silent but fast, and it has like guns that pop out and stuff. And he's always like, I remember there's one where he was like on a runaway train car wrestling with the guy on the top of it while it's racing down a mountain, and it like goes off a jump into the water.
Yeah,
It's stuff like
that
that.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was
Exactly.
crazy.
It's
Yeah.
okay. So for the Wikipedia page on Dirk Pitt, which is the character that Matthew McConaughey is playing, it
Yes.
says that Pitt has a commanding presence, a quick wit, and a considerable collection of classic cards.
That's right.
So that is the description of our main character right there.
Do we have an IMDb? What's the IMDb synopsis?
Oh yeah,
Do
Ben, you
have
want to
it?
read this? This
Absolutely.
Is your
I
favorite.
will say, Joe's asking what everyone's drinking tonight. I am drinking Monkey Shoulder
Whiskey.
Whoa.
whiskey with some
Whoa.
ice.
I actually have a Coke and whiskey.
Ooh,
Whoa,
Because
nice.
I ran out of
whiskey
rum.
Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, which whiskey is the least I'm going to be able to taste? And so I
Yeah,
put
right.
that in there. I don't know.
Is this
What
the
kinda-
part you've highlighted here?
Yeah, that's about the box office stuff.
Got a vodka Sprite. It's okay.
Ooh, a healthy.
Well, yeah, I was trying to cut on the calories here, and then I went and bought diet ginger ale. That's
Ruh-roh.
like, it's 160 calories, a 12-ounce can.
What?
the heck is
That's
that?
more than a can. You
Crap.
might as well just make a Coke.
Yeah,
like Coke's
like, I don't know.
140.
The problem is that really
Oh.
good ginger ale, though, where it's like, don't breathe in when you drink
Oh,
it.
that's the good stuff.
It is the good
It's
stuff.
like a slice of ginger in each.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Master explorer Dirk Pitt goes on the adventure of a lifetime of seeking out a lost Civil War battleship known as the Ship of Death in the deserts of West Africa while helping a WHO doctor being hounded by a ruthless dictator.
Yep. I would say that's the most accurate
Yeah.
synopsis
Absolutely.
we've ever read on here.
Doubled its production from 80 million to 160 million. Lawsuits among the crew and being accused of several violations of international law. Sahara grossed
What?
only 119 million worldwide.
So I think that's the main problem. While they were shooting, they doubled the budget, and then they had a bunch of lawsuits. Which I want to be like, what'd they do while they were
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
I don't know, but international law, people are pissed. So-
Well, and Megan was asking about this, and she's like, it's got to be relatively newer or something. I don't remember it. I didn't hear about it. And no, it's 2005. It's young McConaughey, relatively. And
it's
she's
like,
like,
when
well,
he did all the
he
rom-coms.
did, well, the for me, the flag was, what's the name of the movie? It's
Reign of
2003. It's got Kate Hudson.
10 things. No.
How to Lose
10
a Guy in 10 Days. Yes.
Oh, that's Matthew McConaughey in that?
Yeah.
Yes. And that's that's
Ah.
a pretty good movie. She's really
Yeah.
funny in that. He's
Yeah, that one's good.
he's an excellent douchebag in that movie, basically. He really nails it. But like, this movie's almost 20 years old,
Yeah.
but doesn't really look it. I
No,
think
it actually wasn't
aged
bad.
pretty well for being
Because they didn't
what is that,
have
17
any.
years?
They didn't have any kooky, crazy.
This has aged poorly.
Look at those pants.
Right, yeah, there's a lot
Right.
of what are those? Gosh, what is that called?
Cargo
Carpenter
pants?
Cargo pants.
Yeah. I know.
checking
I
out
feel
this.
like this was
Lot of
like the
big
summer that the
pockets.
Gap probably like tried to make
Yeah.
some
Like,
money
look
off
at how
this.
big, look at how much volume there is around the knee and calf. These are,
Pockets, pockets, pockets.
Yeah. And that like open.
There it is right
like,
there. Oh my
button-up.
gosh, I didn't even look at the bottom.
Oh my gosh, look
Indiana
at it.
Jones and James Bond rolled into one.
wow.
That is exactly what they're going for.
I didn't even see that.
This
Excellent.
poster
Yeah.
aged poorly, but the movie looks pretty modern,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it's not that bad. It's just goofy, but that's how the books are too. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why
But-
don't you get us started, Em?
Okay, so the movie starts out in 1865, the end of the Civil War. We're
Okay.
in Virginia, which you're kind of like,
Virginia.
what the hell? What
Yeah.
the hell are we doing here?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of troops loading like boxes into a ship, and they're getting shot at. There's bombs going off. It's at night, and they go into a big, they call it the ironclad ship, big ship into like the river, and they're getting shot at. They're shooting back, cannonballs everywhere, and then like the fog rolls in, they go silent, and they kind of drift into the fog, and
Yes.
that's it.
That's it.
And you're like, okay, and then the intro starts for the
And then
movie.
a very long intro
Yeah.
credit.
So you can.
It's
do
funny
number
because
two.
I wrote here opening credits, fun and cool.
What are
That
they?
is
I mean, you know,
loving
it's
this.
you know what it is? It's
Hey, Sean's on.
Hey,
Sean.
Sean. The opening credits are like they're zooming around his office
Mm-hmm.
to show you like what he's been doing. He's been hunting this
You do number two.
ironclad, one of
Yep.
the original iron ships built during the Civil War, right?
Yep. Well, I mean, that's what they say.
Yes,
I
I
mean, I
think.
don't.
I
don't
can't
know.
remember.
Oh man, you have like
I have one of the pictures.
shots
Yeah.
of it. Whoops,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I just clicked the
So we
wrong
learned
button.
did
that
not do
him
the right
and
thing.
Steve, what's this character's name? Again, I don't
Al.
know. Al.
Al?
I
Yes.
never would have
Al?
guessed
That's
that.
Al.
This here
Yeah.
and this is Al.
Yeah. So you see, yeah, going around the office, you see the pictures. You see they were in the Navy together. There's like treasure maps and labs.
How
and
did they like make these
all
shots?
that sort of stuff?
Right? That's
like
pretty
Photoshop
impressive.
is hard.
Like
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Right? That's not. That looks like a real picture.
I think they took that picture. I think they threw him into a
Yeah,
uniform.
they could have
and
easily
took that
done that.
picture.
They were
Right?
both really young in this
Yeah.
movie.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when you find out like they've been friends. They do this all the time. That's their thing.
Is it
treasure
ever
hunters.
is it ever clarified what they were in the Navy?
I don't think
I
so.
think they just are like our
Okay.
Navy days, and that's
Right.
it. Which I'm like, well, that could be very different for.
Right. Were you guys like desk jockeys? Because
Yeah, I know.
there's a couple scenes where it's like, I think you guys are supposed to be really skilled, but nobody can hit the broadside of a barn with a gun.
Right.
And
But then they like have crazy tricks up their sleeves, so you're like maybe
Right.
you did some crazy stuff. But also, just because you're in the Navy
I liked-
doesn't mean you're like.
I
I
like
don't
that
know.
crazy stuff scene. What is that called? What is he? It's we'll get there, but there's a boat scene.
Oh,
He says
the
we're gonna pull
Panama?
we're gonna do
The-
a Panama,
We're gonna do a
We're gonna
Panama.
Panama.
Yeah.
and then
Oh, I was just gonna say, Sean. Everybody's yelling at you to go watch on Twitch so you can see the Twitch chat.
Oh, that's
because
right,
we do
yeah.
stream to both places.
Everyone's yelling, "Hey, loser, get in
Yeah.
the Twitch
But
chat."
I want to pretend that
you're
everybody
getting
wants my brother to
attacked
get in the Twitch, chat.
People are pissed.
They're destroying you in the Twitch chat.
Yeah.
So we see the intro. Then we cut to we're in Nigeria, and some people who work for the World Health Organization, which is Ava, who is Penelope Cruz.
Hold on.
Stop talking.
I
Selena
want to say
Gomez.
something about
What?
we are already past it. Were any of you guys the intro sequence with Old Ironsides? No, not Old Ironsides. That's actually a big
That's an
wooden
actual
ship.
thing,
That's an actual
yeah.
big wooden ship. The ironclad ship. That they kept showing that the captain or whatever was like watching the cannonballs hit their ship, and then all of a sudden they weren't hitting the ship. They were like blowing up above it.
Yeah.
I think it's because.
It almost looked like there was like I thought there was some magic going on. I didn't know this was a Clive Cussler book at first, so I thought,
Really?
well, maybe I did know that, and it
I
that
think it
always
was
starts
just more.
with magic. So
it was more them being like, "Hey, if you don't fire, they can't see where we are in the fog."
I thought there was some,
Which is why he was like, "Stop
dome of
firing! Like,
protection.
shut up, be
I
quiet."
think that was just a supreme lack of knowledge about how cannonballs worked.
Maybe I
Right.
thought I really got the impression that he was like shh because he like looked and saw it and then he was like be quiet and then all of a sudden they were blowing up and not
I
hitting
thought there
them.
was a part. He looks out the front, and I swear there was a ship coming at them, and that's why they went dark. But
Oh, I didn't.
clearly didn't
That whole
understand
beginning
what was
sequence was
happening.
confusing.
Yeah.
It was confusing, but I don't think you really need to know much in that
No.
first part.
Okay.
You know what? I think we skipped it. What we didn't say was that they're rushing boxes onto this ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a considerable amount of time spent showing the boxes enter the ship. Right.
That's true.
That's
that is true.
Mhm.
we've got a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
We've established the MacGuffin.
We've got
Right.
that. So after the intro, we're in Nigeria. World Health Organization, there's Ava, who's Penelope Cruz, and her partner, who's sorry I didn't look up his name, or guy who goes around with her. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Other doctor.
They're looking at patients. They think they have like a new outbreak, some sort of disease going on. Everyone has creepy eyes going on when they're sick, so that's
It's
lovely.
like-
It's like a
got some-
close up
Some
on it,
skin
which,
lesions. Yeah, you get a lot of
Yeah.
eye shots in this.
which I'm like, no thanks.
But once
They're-
again, right, the first guy she looks at for this plague or whatever, she pulls open his eye and he like leaps at her, and I was like, okay, we saw magic protection of the
Yes,
ship,
it's
and
all
all of a
over
sudden
the
it's a
place.
zombie.
Yep. Yeah.
And I thought this
didn't
was
think that.
I thought this was very supernatural at this point.
But I did find, so I think when she looks at that first guy, she's wearing a mask. Almost
Yes.
any other time they're going
Yep.
for outbreak stuff, like
I
she
noticed that
legit
too.
thinks there's a plague,
But
never
that's
has a
because
mask
we live
on.
in. It's because we're in 2022.
We're
right? That you're
hypersensitive
like
to
checking
it.
masks now. Yeah.
I find it, I mean, you work for the World Health Organization, and
Right.
she is like, should we go check out these people? She doesn't even put her gloves on until she gets in there.
There's a scene
which is,
where she goes down into like a potentially poisoned well,
yeah, nothing.
and she's like, "It's fine. I'll put my goggles on when I get down
Yeah.
there."
But I
Like,
wouldn't
no
I
big
wouldn't
deal.
I wouldn't have questioned it if she hadn't been so careful in the beginning of mask
True.
on.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's 2005 and she's masking up. Like,
Unprecedented.
yeah.
Masking
Yeah.
up. So they go to
Exactly.
leave because they hear the guy who's sick. The woman is like, well, he was with his father. His father works at the lighthouse. So she's going to go check out the lighthouse. And as they leave, you see a guy dressed up watching them, like in the broad daylight. He's not secretive in any
Yeah.
way. He's just standing on a dock. He looks like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat or something. And
Yep.
he's like on the dock watching them, which red flag, nobody else notices. So you can
Yeah.
put the picture for
I
that
thought
one.
this guy was going to be like a Jaws from. Isn't there's a couple of James Bond movies
Yeah, oh,
where
yeah.
there's that Jaws
Yeah.
guy? I
Yeah.
thought he was going to be like.
He didn't do much.
I don't know.
No.
He doesn't
In
deliver.
fact, I didn't even recognize him when
he's, like, right there.
When they get to him later.
Oh, I didn't.
I'm-
Yeah.
I'm only just realizing now that that's who this was in the beginning.
Which he seems very important. Yeah, he kind of like comes back once and then like that's it.
Maybe once or
doesn't-
twice.
Mortal
Too
Kombat.
much.
Look at him.
He does.
Well, you
look-
can't see
yeah.
his face is he's like covered just his eyes and
You
Yes.
got Matthew McConaughey on the ship on the boat yet?
No, not
they,
yet.
they
We'll get to
keep
the
calling
boat.
it a
We'll
yacht,
get to-
by the way. They referred to this as a yacht, which this is a
That's
very
generous.
expensive boat, but
That's generous.
I don't
not
know
a
that I
yacht.
would use that term.
Listen, I
Like
know
as
how to
if we
window
know
shop
yachts.
for yachts. That ain't a yacht.
exactly. Like we're like, well, we know
Yeah.
yachts.
Yeah.
So Ava heads out to the lighthouse, finds the guy. He's already dead. Has the same creepy eye, like up close on like
the father of the
grossest
dead guy
eye.
before, right? I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
She leaves. She has her medical bag, and as she leaves, some guy attacks her. She starts running.
Not some guy. Scorpion.
It's Scorpion.
Is it Scorpion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scorpion attacks her. I didn't realize it was him.
It was. I
She's
remember
run down the
this.
beach. She sees Matthew McConaughey, Dirk Pitt, right?
Dirk
That's
Pitt.
his name?
Yep.
In the water, and she's like waving him down like she needs help. And then all of a sudden, there's like two other guys on her.
I thought she
ton
was
of
waving the
guys.
two guys down.
Oh, maybe she was.
Right.
You're right.
She's
You're right.
running from Scorpion.
Yes.
Waves
she
for
waves
help.
them down. They're part of the gang.
No, they're in.
Yeah,
on it.
they're Scorponox.
So
soldiers.
they are.
Foot soldiers.
They're like choking her and whatnot. And Scorpion's is he about to stab her? Or he has his
He's
hand up or
choking her.
something.
He's choking
No,
her.
a different guy
No,
does.
it's a grunt that's choking her, and I think
Yeah.
he's gonna
Ah.
stab her.
He's
wants
gonna
the
stab
bag.
her, and like a harpoon comes right through his hand. And
Yeah.
that's when Matthew McConaughey, Dirk Pitt,
Dirk
has come
Pitt
and
saves
he
the
like
day.
ninja fights them all off,
Was
and she
this-
blacks out.
This
Dirk
action
Pitt's
scene
badass.
where he beats the 2 or 3 guys up is incomprehensible. It's impossible to follow who's punching who
Oh, it's just crazy.
at which
You can do
time.
number
It's
5.
so quick cut together. It's
Oh, yeah.
unreal. I didn't know what was happening.
I think it's supposed to be like her, like kind of blacking out.
I
and
get.
just
I
seeing
understood
it,
that, but it was like
but
I'm not
what's
sure
happening?
how many people are here.
I need to show something to the camera. This is the picture I drew in my book while we were watching.
Uh-oh.
I was like,
Okay.
what is happening?
Uh-oh.
Can we see?
What is that?
There's Scorpion.
Is that him?
Tiny picture.
him. There he is.
Why is he so
There he is.
soft?
Make sure.
Why
is he
did you
so
write it
tiny?
like Sahara with a space?
I wanted to
before
make
the
sure I
H?
didn't forget what he looked like.
Yeah, what is this? Sahara. Why is it like that?
I shouldn't show my notes.
I need to start taking notes.
I love taking notes. It's
Oh,
like
I
the
have, like,
funniest
20
part of it
pages
is
of
that I
notes.
took notes. I
Oh,
think.
really? Okay, I need to get I'll get a journal. I'll start journaling.
Journaling all your kids will find it in 50 years and be like, what does this mean?
What is- what
and
is
it's like
this
bad
garbage?
movies.
Yeah.
I take all my date night D-list notes are taken in this Darth Vader and Luke father son notebook.
So he attacks all the guys. She passes out, and when she wakes up, she's like on a boat.
Well, real
Yeah.
quick,
Go for it.
he abducts her, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Under,
He was
again,
like, she's
under
passed out, and just
under
takes her.
modern circumstances,
Yeah.
he abducts her.
Yeah.
I don't know because she wakes up however many thousands of miles out at sea on this
Yeah.
boat.
Right,
Oh,
she is
that's true.
trapped, essentially. It's also
He
weird
didn't take
'cause
her to the hospital.
where
he took
was her partner? Her, like, he didn't come
know
with
what
her?
happened to that
He was
guy.
like, you do the lighthouse, I'll do... So that's
I
a little
don't know.
weird.
I think so, yeah. Oh, you know what? They got in a fight because she's pushing this like plague concept, and he was like, "No, we already told the WHO about that. They're not gonna buy it." Yada yada yada. And she's like, "You owe me one about some vague
Oh, okay.
scenario." And he's like, "Okay, I'll bring it to them again." And then she goes to the lighthouse.
and she goes to lighthouse.
There
Yeah.
is a couple of you owe me ones in this movie.
There's a
where
lot
it's
of
like,
you owe me.
That's because these people are always in adventures, and so
Right.
they're like,
Right.
you know,
That I
It's
think
part of the job.
yeah.
this if
I
you
want that
ever
scenario.
have read or in my case listened to the audiobook versions of any Clive Cussler book, this movie makes so much more sense. Like
Well,
It's
your
just so
quick
crazy.
breakdown at the beginning where it's like weird origin and history, maybe
Mm-hmm.
magic. Here's Dirk Diggler. They look the origin and Dirk look connected, and there's a disease, but maybe
Yeah.
they're not connected. Like
It's
that's the
bullet
beat by
points.
beat. Yeah.
yeah.
right. That is the outline. If you just like high level outlined this movie, it is the same story in every single one of those
Yeah.
books. You just switch out
Guy
A
and
for
girl.
B in each
Oh, it's
slot.
a plague.
Yeah.
Now it's a virus. Now it's a yeah.
But
Yeah.
somehow I get tricked every time into thinking it is magic, and it never
It's,
is.
You know
Well,
what it
that
is?
sounds like there's no magic in the books. We
They're
mean
like
there
those
never
romance
is.
novels that people
Like the ones with
gobble
the
up.
cover. That,
Right, yeah.
That's exactly what they're like.
The sweaty
the-
dude
Right.
on the front embracing her.
They are like
Yeah.
action hero
Yeah.
versions of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like a guy's.
It's the
yeah.
fast food of
What
books.
is that called? What is? Yeah, it's fast food.
I don't
It
know.
is.
So like you said, she gets abducted. She's on their boat. She wakes up and she meets Al essentially, but they're raising like something out of the water that they found.
Some sort
a
of
treasure.
tomb.
You know, it's a
Or a-
tomb of some, yeah.
I hated the way that Al was introduced. The old like, hand me the wrench. Here's the tool.
Yeah,
he's
that
like
was
yelling
really
at her with his
bad.
like butt
Yeah.
out.
I don't
essentially.
even mind. I don't even mind that like scene, that setup. Except he wasn't under something. He was just like had his face to
He's
a.
just
like,
on his knees.
He's
Yeah.
just on his knees working. Like he could easily have turned around. It wasn't like he's under. Whoops, under a car.
What
You're
was
like,
that?
Ben hit the
I hit the
table.
table.
Why did it like vibrate across the room?
I don't.
That's some sort
I'm
of
getting out of
latent
control here.
power?
So, but they bring up, like you said, like some big tomb. It's covered in, clams and this. It's been under the wire for who knows how many hundreds of whatever years.
Yeah.
And the boss comes out and he's like, that thing has to be at the museum in 5 hours.
Right.
Not going to happen.
What?
Takes months to clean that sort of thing up.
And they're like, 5 hours, let's go.
Well, and he says 5 hours, and then they're like hitting it with axes and shit to like get algae
Right.
off of it.
After
Like,
they just said it's
not
been on the bottom of the
possible.
sea for 1,000 years.
And Matthew McConaughey rides up like
On it.
astride the sarcophagus. Like, get off of it. What are you
No,
doing?
like you're going to break something. You can't just
Right.
like stand
Right.
on it.
He's like riding it.
oh my gosh.
But I do like this is the next thing in my notes. 5 hours, WTF? Like,
No.
Yeah.
it takes 5 months. Maybe I could understand,
Yeah.
or even if
Even
they
that's
said
probably
5
pushing it.
days. 5 hours? They're not even going to get back to port in 5
Right, that was
hours.
the thing. I'm like, I'm pretty sure we can't even get home that fast, let alone
Let
clean
alone
this
like
thing.
ship it into the museum and set up the like.
Well, and lo and behold, it is pristine when they
Oh,
display
boy.
it 5 hours later.
It looks so good later that I'm like, do they like sell fakes? Is that
Yeah.
the twist
Right.
here, that they sell fake stuff?
Right.
Like it's not actually it. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
There's no. It's like polished. It is clean. Not a scratch on it. It is
Everybody's
perfect
in
when they show
white
it.
tuxes
Yeah.
and
I want to be like, it would take me 5 hours just to get there and get dressed and whatnot.
Yeah.
Let alone.
Speaking of white tuxes,
man,
Oh,
he's
yeah,
got a lot
there's
of different
Dirk.
looks in this movie. I don't think any
there's
of
the
them
big
work.
guy.
I don't know. I don't know.
So when they have to head to the museum. Dirk gets a call. He has a tip from someone who has information about the ironclad ship. So he is like, screw the museum thing. He wants to head over there quick and then get to the museum.
now let's
That's
keep
right.
in mind they are in Nigeria, Africa, and he's trying to find a Civil War ironclad ship.
Now he believes
And they just found
he
the
kinda mentions,
sarcophagus
too.
of like a Nigerian king.
yeah,
From a
I-
thousand
something like
right?
that.
I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry,
but he
You'd
talks
think
about
it'd be a big
how-
discovery.
Yeah, right. And instead
Nope.
he's like,
He's
what about
on-
this
he's on
Civil
the
War
Civil
shit?
War.
I gotta find this Civil War thing. We found a 1,000-year-old sarcophagus in pristine condition, and yet I want to find a crappy
Right.
old
It's
ship
this
from the Civil
mystery.
War.
All we had to
But-
do was hose it off and hit it with an axe a few times, and it was fine.
He does talk about, though, how everyone's going, this again. Obviously, he talks about it a lot. Why would it be in Africa? It could never make it across the ocean, which,
No shit.
yeah, I want to be
which is
yeah,
like a
it
very
couldn't.
good point.
So
Like,
I looked up, like, the legit ironclad in the Civil
man.
War. It left North Carolina, and it sunk about 20
Right.
miles off North Carolina. It just didn't make it
right.
far.
it's too heavy.
I just wanted to double check in case I was totally crazy and something
Yeah.
wild happened. It did not. So,
On
you
a
know.
side note, if you ever want to read some real weird stuff, go read about the original like submarines that Americans built.
Ooh.
Just a coffin. Like, hey, jump
Yeah.
in the coffin. We're gonna
I was
send it
gonna
out in
say,
the water.
I bet that's not a
Like-
good
Good luck.
story.
Yeah, you will not enjoy what you're reading. Not fun.
Oh.
I don't know why I know
Um,
that.
So then we're at the museum show when they bring up that pristine ta-da tomb.
Yep.
Perfect condition.
Ava and her colleague are also there, which I don't know why, but they are.
Didn't even notice.
Why
But
are
you're
they
right,
there?
I don't know.
Why are they there?
And also, she got like legit choked out. Like you would have like
Yes.
bruises. It would hurt. And I think they're like, we patched you up the best we
yeah,
could.
Dwight took care of her.
You had a blah blah. They say what she had. Like she
Yeah,
was
they're like,
legit
you, oh, you
hurt.
had like a.
I don't know if it's like a
compressed isn't
bruised
the word, but like
something.
a bruised larynx or something.
Yeah.
Where like,
Yeah.
hey, you should take it easy.
And there's nothing there, and
Yeah.
she's just like dressed up. Like, hey, I woke up apparently 5 hours ago because we know the time frame.
Slept it off.
Hard pass on the submarine
Hard
tester.
pass on the submarine tester.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I agree, Joe.
more opportunities for me. I
Um,
don't know.
where am I here? Okay, so she goes to the show too, and then she's talking to. I once again didn't know who he was. A businessman who maybe buys the treasures that they come up with. I'm not quite
Is
sure
this the
what he
vaguely
was.
looking
Are you talking
bad
about
guy?
this gentleman?
Yes. Okay.
I'm talking
yeah.
about him.
Look
I
at
didn't
him.
know
He's
what
got
he
like
was.
a shrimp in his pocket. It's like he has a shrimp cocktail.
That's very bizarre. What is that in his pocket?
think
Is it a
it's-
shrimp?
no, it's
oh,
like a
it's just the
little-
way that the
Yeah.
kerchief
It's the
is
color.
But
Look
at
at that,
this
though.
at
It
this
does look
distance,
like
it
a
does
shrimp.
look like a
Juicy
shrimp.
But he's like some businessman, and she's saying how there's a plague, and he's like, I'll talk to some friends to see if we can get you. She wants to go to what, Mali,
She wants to go to Mali, I think, which is
Right.
more inland.
which is where
Nigeria's-
they think it started.
Yeah.
Yes.
And no one wants to let her go there, and he's like, I'll see, I can talk to some important people. So that's when you kind of introduce him.
Because they just had like a coup, and there's a general
There's
in
a
charge,
civil
and there's a
war,
civil
I
war.
think.
There's a war, though.
Yeah.
They don't really show much of that.
That's true. Did you, Emily? Quick question: did you write down this gentleman's name, this actor?
Oh, it's something Lambert.
The interesting thing about this guy, he
don't
is in
remember.
another movie from 1983, also called Sahara.
Very confusing trying to find
Whoa.
photos.
If you look up, whatever his name
Something
is, something Lambert, Sahara, you will get a completely different movie because he was in 2 movies with the exact same title at 22 years
They also
apart.
look
That's
the same,
interesting because you have to you have to buy the rights to that name at some point.
Right? I
That's
don't-
wild.
I was also confused because he kept saying he was born in like 1950 something. I was like, that's not possible. He looks so young, and so, but it's him. I was just, I was like,
That
maybe
guy's
they're talking about the old
55,
Sahara.
You're telling me?
Yeah.
Well, his birthday was 58, so
Was it
he would have been
58? Okay.
40s.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
40.
Okay.
But at first I saw
7.
that, and then the 2 Saharas, and it was very confusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in both.
I'll have to look up his name.
But
Yeah,
right
he's in
away,
2
you see this
Saharas.
guy. That guy oozes bad guy energy, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's always sweaty.
He'll do anything for money.
That's a
you know?
James Bond villain, if ever there was one.
Well, that one picture is so tight.
Sorry, I'm flipping through the next picture, and Emily has some. Emily,
One is like this. but-
Emily writes the synopsis of the movie and prepares all the pictures for these D lists. So I'm always surprised by what we
Sometimes I
find.
just get what I can get. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
So while the beginning of the museum thing happening, Dirk goes and he finds someone who has, what is it? It's some Confederate money that was supposed to be on the ironclad ship, or they made like a press. What is it called? A stamp to
They
make the
were
money.
supposed to be 5 of these.
They were
right?
going
For-
to mint Confederate coins.
Yeah.
Right.
And they never did, but they created 5 samples.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he
4
bought one
have been
from
found.
someone.
This is the 5th.
This is the 5th.
Yeah.
So then he finds out where the person found it, and he wants to go there, which is also Molly. And he wants to go, so he's like asking his boss if they can head over there before they go to Australia for their next job. And of course, he's like, "You have 2 hours to get there." What? It's some insane time frame again to like head across the
90
country.
minutes. I think it's like 3 hours or something.
I apologize already. This is gonna be like a 3-hour recap because like there's so many things about every scene. This
You have to know it though.
But in this scene when he's talking to what is his face, the
William
actual
H.
admiral,
Macy.
William
H.
H.
Macy has the biggest cigar I've ever seen in my life.
he does. I
It's
should have
so
found a picture.
humongous.
It's
like
like
it's like he's
Scrooge McDuck. Like
he's like trying to
insane.
smoke a
Admiral,
baseball bat.
Like, yeah. It's a
It's
coffee
like-
cup that he's like,
Like it's so it goes down to a little point so it'll fit in his mouth, and then it is honestly like a baseball bat.
It's just a cone.
It's the biggest freaking thing I've ever
is
seen.
like that.
It's
It looks like a
so
joke.
big.
And he's like, "Can I smoke in peace?"
It
Like
did.
that kind of thing.
It looked like a joke.
I forgot. Man, I should have got a picture of that. That's why I have to take good notes.
I loved it.
So he gets the okay to head there. Of course, Ava and her partner want to go there, check on the plague, so they're gonna hitch a ride. They all meet up. They're gonna go downriver in a $1 million boat, or what it looks like at least, which is number 7.
I was confused about this because they kept asking, "Can we borrow your boat?" And the earlier scenes, the captain's boat is like a freight
It's like-
container.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
It's a boat
It's
boat.
It's a scientific recovery vessel.
Yeah, like a
Right.
lab. Yeah.
a vessel is the word. It's like
Mhm.
it wouldn't fit up this river that they go in. Can we borrow the boat? Can we borrow the boat? And then they give him this like speedboat kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Which
Ken, I
It was-
completely agree. I
Yeah.
was also I had the exact same impression. I was like, why would he lend you his gigantic scientific
That's
vessel
like his whole business
to head up
is
river.
that boat. But I mean, it's not really a big deal because once you realize what they're on, it's like, oh, I guess he's got another boat. That's the resolution of that. But it's
Look at the
Steve Zahn
game.
about to fall off the front
They
there.
kept always standing on it while taking off. I don't know why, how they weren't all just toppling
Sexy,
over.
Why
baby.
is he
Make it
here?
sexy.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So while they're going downriver, it takes a while.
at
They're
this.
all on there tight, so they're getting to
Didn't
know each
pull in
other.
the buoys.
Yeah, what's
Whatever
going
those are,
on?
the
That doesn't
tenders.
make sense.
What are those called?
I don't know.
The bumpers? I don't know.
They are constantly passing like super poor villages and just being like, "What's up, bitches?"
Right,
Like, yeah,
in this $500,000 boat.
which
Yeah.
is like really weird, awkward.
I was like, somebody's gonna steal that. There's even a scene where they're like pulled up next to a like dock.
they just
It's
leave
well,
it all
filling
the
up
time.
with
It
gas.
takes them a very long time to get to the gas, and there's like many scene transitions of them going inland, and I'm like, you guys are out of gas, right? Where are you
Yeah.
gonna get gas?
It doesn't
And then they
make sense.
finally get it, and I'm like, well, I don't know about that. That
Right.
seemed-
It was so funny because like you would never think that you need to show a scene of them getting gas, but I was like, they're gonna need to
it
get
went
gas.
on long enough to
Well,
where
there
you
was
had to
nothing.
show
They
a
need
scene of
gas.
getting
Yeah.
gas.
What are they gonna do, right? And of course they make Dwight fill it up.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's his job. That's why he's there, essentially. They get there, they go their separate ways, like the doctors
Yes,
and
the doctors go somewhere else.
they kind of like, we're gonna just walk around. I don't know.
They get
I'm
in
not quite
some
sure.
Land Rovers
They
or
get in
something.
a truck, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
he-
remember where they're going.
I don't think they say specifically. I don't know.
Just to find the
They somehow
plague.
separate.
Yeah.
Dirk he's trying to find the guy who found the coin. That guy's dead, which was kind of weird. They're like, he's dead. We got to move on.
Yeah.
Dirk has an idea, runs away. He goes to a school library. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
Was it a mosque? Was it a school? It was not
It was
clear.
very unclear.
Somewhere
Yeah.
with information.
Yeah, I did like that. He traveled all this way, goes to see a guy, and the lady's like, he's dead, and slams the door in his face. And he's like, all right, guess I got to come up with a new plan. It's like,
Well,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They search through a bunch of scrolls. They find one that talks about a boat that brought a sickness, the
right.
ship of death. And so he figures
Yes.
out that
More magic.
somebody did
This is
talk
maybe-
about the boat. It was there kind of thing.
This is about 30 minutes in where it connects, and I'm not complaining necessarily. It connects the first 5 minutes of the movie with the whole plague storyline.
Yeah, you're like, finally, maybe this will make sense.
Now we're converging, but it sounds like from what Ben says, it's a red herring. It's not
Yeah.
the case.
Always. It
Because I
always
didn't
is.
finish the movie. I couldn't do it.
I'm telling you, man, it is always a red herring, and it always gets me every single time.
Wow.
I
Well,
thought that this was I thought they brought a plague on this ship, or the
Well-
ship itself.
But it's been
Yeah, but it's been
150
100 years. Or, yeah.
That was the first
So,
thing.
I
It's like
mean-
the setup doesn't make any sense because this scene sort of is like, wait a minute, did whatever the plague is came with the ironclad? But it's been 150 years.
I don't know. I was convinced it brought it. I didn't even
Bought it,
consider
huh?
the time. I bought in all the way.
And you were like, here we are.
Tell me more.
So then they're going down the river. They're trying to find. They have like some kind of buoy or something behind the boat, but I think
They're
they're trying to
scanning
find
the
like
riverbed.
water or stuff under
For the
water.
ironclad, I think.
Yeah.
And then they find out that there's like rust all over the buoy, which they say it can't be possible. It's only been in there for 2 hours, and they kind of like freak out. And then Rudy,
Whoa.
Rudy, I remembered it.
Is his
yeah,
name Rudy?
yeah.
Again,
He
would not have guessed.
really
Don't
weird
know.
names. Like they're not
Rudy,
Dirk
Al,
Pitt.
and Dirk.
Dirk, Al, and Rudy. He takes a little sample of it to try to figure out what's going on. So you have to know that.
Well, keep in mind, the first novel that Dirk Pitt was in 1976, I think.
Was Dirk
What are we supposed to
popular
take
then?
from that?
Is
Is that just the name?
I don't know.
Just the name?
Like,
Let
I'm
me
like,
go back to
oh.
that shot of the cargo pants.
Yeah. So if you're wondering why he's dressed the way he is,
Yeah, what?
this is why.
So then, this is number 8. Here's a tiny photo. We cut to that businessman from the museum. He's bringing a treasure or a gun to a guy called the General. I don't know if he has a different name. They talk about how he seems like scary and important and whatnot.
He's like the warlord of Mali. He took over.
Which they didn't really explain, though. But he all of a sudden talks about how the doctor should have already been taken care of. And he's like, oh, well, you know, someone else is going to take care of that, which I'm assuming is Scorpion. And then the boss guy, sorry, I don't know names, says how the general isn't keeping his people under control and, like, the disease or the plague is, like, getting out. And he's like, well, they die quick, so who cares? And that's kind of all you hear from that scene. So you're like, hey, they have something to do with it. What's going on?
It was interesting how he was like the corporate CEO looking fellow was supposed to be taking care of the WHO people who are investigating the disease.
Plague or disease, yeah.
But then he also is like, but there also was plague people down there. Like, maybe you should keep your people under control a little bit. And he's like, you trying to tell me I'm going to run my country?
Yeah, that's when you find out General's a little scary.
General has this dude underfoot a little bit.
Also, he just handed him like a gun, so I probably wouldn't, keep my lips.
Mm-hmm.
Did you really zoom in so that?
Yes, the actual size of the image you provided is this size. Can I show everybody this? This is the size. This is a thumbnail
I
image.
couldn't find anything that didn't
Are you
have
kidding
like
me?
a,
Like, this is the size of
didn't
the
have
image
a
you provided.
watermark over it.
You
I'm
expect
sorry.
me to engineer this stream when I'm being provided this sort of material?
I'm
No,
sorry.
this is perfect.
Okay, we're back in the river after they're pulling those buoys.
It's about to get fun. Let
now
me just
this
say
is when shit gets
Yep.
wild.
Again,
Okay,
we're,
go for it.
what's our time frame? We're at like 40 minutes right now?
Yeah,
Or-
probably something
Yeah.
like that.
probably.
I feel like it's a little long overall.
Yeah. It kept being like when you think you're near the end, some other problem comes up and they gotta like weasel their way out of it.
Yeah.
And,
And this is just the first
crazy.
one.
The action is about to begin.
Yeah.
Finally, we have come to the actual like purpose of this movie.
Yeah. So they're in the river and a boat comes up. I thought it was the police. I don't know if it's soldiers, police. I think they say they're the police.
I don't.
I don't know.
They do. They clearly work for that general guy we were
Right.
just introduced to, who's
But-
trying to get the
Yeah.
doctors.
But so they are asking for where the doctor is, which that's all they say. And right away, Dirk is like, "We gotta get on." Like, instead of being like, "Hey, she's not with us," that would be a good answer. I feel like because she's
Yeah.
not. So instead,
That's
they
the thing. She's not on the boat. They could have just been like, she's
Right.
not here.
Yeah.
check our boat, and they would leave.
And they didn't really take it would have only taken like 10 seconds to say like, "Hey, there was a civil war. This general is now in power
Right.
and there are people out in the desert or whatever who are rebels essentially, for lack of a
Mhm.
better term."
Yeah.
But they never like quite say that.
It was
And then
very
so when
confusing.
his soldiers come around, it's like, she's not on the boat, dude.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
don't-
She's not on the boat.
But instead
Yeah.
of saying that, I don't know how he does this. They like, do they hook something to the boat? They
No,
do
that's
something. What they
right.
do?
He backs up to their boat, and then he
And
like
throws a
takes
hook.
off.
He does throw
Does
a
he?
hook.
he throws a
They
hook.
hook it,
Okay.
or he throws a
And
rope.
then
They
he
tie it
essentially
to the
flips
police boat,
their boat, though.
and then he bolts it and just rips the boat
Yeah.
out from under these guys, which I don't think would work. But I'm
No.
not.
So
you know,
he flips
it-
her boat. They take off, and then all of a sudden, there's a lot of action. So there's another boat that hits them. Dirk falls into the other boat.
Right, this happens immediately
This
after
is, like,
flipping the first
instant.
boat. A
Yeah.
second boat appears, smashes into their boat, where he flips.
He flips
into
into
it.
it. There's a guy the size of the rock with holding a machete, and he
Yeah.
starts attacking Dirk. Which, once again, we're looking for the doctor, so I don't know why we're all, whatever.
It doesn't matter.
So they drive their
point,
boat up
Not the
next to
point
him.
of this scene.
Yeah, they're trying to get Dirk to jump onto their boat again, and there's guys shooting. There's a jeep on land all of a sudden shooting at them. Shit's
This
going.
gets
There's
pretty.
multiple
crazy.
boats.
It's
This
insane.
gets pretty insane. The cat just opened the door. I'm not kidding. Matt.
Like he turned the handle and came
I
in.
don't know how he's done it twice now. That was not the first time.
Genius, kitty genius.
Look at this.
Yeah, so that's him flipping the first boat. Look at that one guy really flew.
This can't be the first boat because
Okay, I don't know, the 8th boat. There's so many of them. I found a picture.
Is this guy? Is he? Look at this. Look at this
Who's
guy.
that guy?
Look at this guy.
Maybe it's not the first. I don't know. I saw this and I.
What?
Oh,
Look
this
at
is
this
the
guy over
flip.
here. He's like gonna save anybody who needs help.
Yeah.
Do you think
This
he's
is
just a
the
crew
flip.
member that was waiting?
This
That's
is
the
the
flip.
flip. Okay, so if we go like this, it was like that. But
Whoop.
look at there's
Like,
definitely a crew
Jimmy
member in
from
this picture
the
over
scuba
here.
team is ready to help.
All right, there's a flip here.
Okay, so Dwight shoots a flare gun at the people in the Jeep.
It blows up the Jeep.
It blows up. The Jeep goes into the water. Dirk jumps back into their boat, and the other boat drives onto land, which is like, why would this be happening? Oh, look, there's a kitty. Meow, And Max
doesn't
is going
like
to finish
me.
it from here.
He doesn't like me. Yeah.
He doesn't like you. So then 2 more boats are on their way. And while this is happening, the boss, William H. Macy, calls, and he's yelling at them to get back so they can go to the next job. And, of course, he's like, you better not ruin my boat. And there's, like, bullet holes and, like, you can do number 10 for the picture.
Oh yeah, the boat
Yeah.
is.
The boat's trashed. So then they say they're going to do a Panama because they don't know how to get away from these 2 other boats chasing. Look at Dwight back there.
Look at
I
all
love-
of them.
How many scenes of them ever since we left to go upriver in this boat? Every scene is the boat is like so the angle of the boat is so extreme.
Someone put, like, a
and the
GoPro on
camera,
it.
the camera is always at the bow, looking like essentially downhill at them. This
Yeah.
the angle of this scene is what
Yeah,
the
you're
whole
right.
past 30 minutes have been.
Yeah.
So they are going to do a Panama. They say it's something they did in the Navy. And they cut the fuel line, put a lit cigar. They have one of those giant baseball bat cigars.
Yep. You got,
They
well,
put it
of
in
course, it's
there.
William H. Macy's
It's the
boat.
captain's boat. Yeah.
That's true. They jump off and like it lights when the fuel, blah blah blah.
It was very-
It blows up the boat.
was
Doesn't
very-
quite make sense. That was timed
Yeah.
right or any of that. And then of
Wait,
course
wait,
he
wait.
hears it on the phone and he's like, "They did a Panama," and he like shuts up.
They take the radio, they put it in the cup holder so he can hear them screaming for their
Is that what
lives
it
in the
is? Okay.
gunfire. They do the Panama by ghost riding the whip between 2 enemy boats. And then it just happens to blow up as it
Right.
passes.
I don't know how
They
it was, like,
timed
the
the
right
fuse
time.
perfectly. No,
But
they
also the
this
thing
was all
is-
planned.
It didn't make
That's
sense.
a
'cause
Panama, baby.
They're going this way and the boats are going this way, but when they jump off, wouldn't they be right next to the explosion and the boat's coming at them? And instead, they act like they're 200 feet away, and they're like, "Look at that! It worked."
It was going fast.
It's a
That
ghost
doesn't
ride, baby.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's how it works. Haven't you ever done a Panama
I
before?
haven't. I'm sorry.
I will say,
I
after
don't
they
know.
do the Panama, there's a quick joke about why do you call it the Panama? And he says, I think we were in Nicaragua at the time, and they didn't know where they were, so they
Is that-
called it the Panama. And then there's a second joke about, like, how did you know that would work? And he says, well, it didn't work the first time.
Yeah.
So it's
Which
it's a
tells
trick
you
that
like
doesn't
they get
work
into
and
some
it's named
crazy crap.
incorrectly.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
That's
right.
them
We're
in a
flying by the
nutshell.
seat of our pants here.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know, we've had 40 minutes of exposition and we've had one
that
5-minute
scene-
action scene.
That scene though was a lot.
It's
It
very
was
long.
crazy. It's long and it's crazy and it's insane.
This was the
Yeah.
point at which we stopped the movie and said, this seems like a normal movie.
Yeah.
That's
it was
where
like,
I
where's
stopped
the-
too.
Yeah.
It's about 50 minutes. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I need to watch this anymore. Because it's
Oh, you missed the good stuff then.
Yeah.
fine. It's not good. It's not bad. All right. Well, I'll
Mm-hmm.
let you take the wheel. I watched another 20 minutes today, and it was like, I'm not sure I'm ready.
Did you
for
see him
this."
windsurfing that plane across the desert?
No, but I remember that from the trailer when I was 17.
When you were-
So, yeah.
Oh man. So they
Is that
decide.
a real thing? Does that happen in the movie?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. That
Oh
happened.
my god.
Al and Dirk are like, we got to find the doctor, which also,
Yes.
let's just imagine for a second someone dropped you off in Minneapolis, Ken, and they're like,
Sure.
you're going to find one of your friends. She also might be in Minneapolis or somewhere farther. You're not
Right.
going to walk and stumble upon them, be like, oh, Craig, like around
Actually,
the corner.
you are.
Yeah.
Apparently they are.
That's how you do it.
There's not a lot of towns in Mali, in the desert. There's only one.
You're telling me if I just walk
Yes.
around.
There's only one place to go.
Anyway, they decide that Rudy needs to sneak back across the border and go tell their boss to get help, which I'd be like, can I pass on
Yeah.
that?
This,
Risk
I
your life.
imagine, was a harrowing adventure that was not shown in the movie
Doesn't show
really at all.
any of
They-
it
they show
until
him-
he completed it.
They show him get through the border and
Yes. Yeah.
that's it. And then he's back.
He pops up like
Which also,
he's
how
very-
far was that?
he's very poorly hidden behind like some sheep.
And he's wearing
I
like a
think.
bright
You can
blue
see
shirt
his
or
shirt,
something.
and he,
Yeah, it's
like-
really obvious.
And then goes back under.
And
as
they're
he
like, you'll
passes
figure it
the-
out.
Looks legit.
That is what they say. They're like, it shouldn't be that bad. Like,
Yeah.
what? Okay, so then we're cut back to the doctors.
Uh-huh.
Ava and her friend, picture number 11, by the way,
Okay.
they're in a small village at night looking for people. I don't know why they're doing this at night. Seems
Yeah.
weird. It is pitch black. And they're like, should we go find some peeps and see if they're sick? What are you going to do, wake them up? Like, this
isn't there
seems
something
weird.
that brought them here? Wasn't there like a there must have been a lead because
I think one of the people who were sick before, they were like working in the
yeah,
city or
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Once again, no masks. They're going throughout the house and the little
Yeah.
village and area, no mask, nothing, pitch black.
We only mask up the one time. That's it.
I don't even care if you're sick or not. If someone comes to my house at 3 a.m., I might attack them. I don't know. Why are you there at that time? It's weird. So anyway, they go in, they find that everyone's dead. Like everyone.
The whole
It's a lot
town.
of
The whole town.
Yeah,
It's like kids, everyone, the whole thing. Like you said, Rudy goes through the border in a goat truck.
They do spend the night burying the town.
Yeah, they show
Yes.
They show that.
that.
that was kind
so
of
then
intense. I liked that.
It is intense. They
There
don't
was a
show
thing-
it. They show like that there's kid toys and like so you see that it like hit
And
everyone.
you see, I think it's sunrise. You see them like there's like 5 graves. There's shadows. There's the 2 doctors, and there's guys who presumably buried them singing, and it's a good 10 or 20 seconds of these 5 graves, and then it like pans out. It cuts to a wide
Cuts
pan
out,
out,
yeah.
and it's like it's a lot of dead people.
It's like
way
yeah, it
more
keeps
than
going.
5.
It just keeps panning wider and wider.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
there's
like,
stuff
whoa.
about this movie that I think is well done, and that one in particular was like, oh, that's
Right.
pretty.
No,
intense.
I spoiler. This of all our D lists so far. This is my favorite.
This is
movie,
fine.
I
Well,
think.
this wasn't.
is
I
fine.
liked this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie's just more goofy.
You
I
could have
enjoyed
fun
it.
with this
D-list.
movie. Yeah.
So then the next morning, she's going to go down the well to get a sample of where they had water to see if there was something in the water.
For the whole town, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she goes down there, and then when she's down there, she hears people pull up. They like shoot everyone.
This goes. There's like
This goes on for a while.
there's
She
2 people at the top of the well, and there's gunfire for about 45 seconds.
Yeah. And during that, though, she has a glow stick down there, to see the bottom.
Yeah.
During that, never once is she like, should I bury the glow stick or...
Or like put it.
She
in
buries the
pocket.
glow stick.
She does right before
Eventually.
they are about to look in. She can hear them walking and like looking, and she's like, ugh! And she like right away. You'd be like, well, shit, and I
Yeah.
don't know. So
Stick it
it's
in your sock.
yeah, something. The general showed up and he kills everyone, and then he kept her like partner guy alive.
Yes.
And he's kind of like questioning him. They're trying to find her, which I'm like, who?
Does
don't
it
know.
matter?
Yeah, like aren't
We
they
don't
the
know
same? They have
why
the same
she's
knowledge
important.
I never understood why they're so obsessed with the
with
doctors.
her. I don't know.
She had a bag, but then didn't she lose the bag?
She lost
The
it.
bag
They
got
They
stolen.
took the bag when Scorpion attacked her the first time.
Hmm.
So then he is like, I know she's around here somewhere. Let's find her. It's real obvious. There's a well.
It's a well,
There's
like
ropes
4
going
feet
down
from
into
his-
the well.
Yeah.
There's multiple people like holding the ropes dead by the well.
Right.
And her
There's
bag
only
is
2
sitting next
people.
to the well.
There's
It's
only
really
2
not that
living
hard.
people in the town, and they were standing at the well when you guys showed up.
Like holding a rope. It's really obvious where she is. They look down. That's when she buries it quick. And when they look down, the shot they show, you can like tell there's someone down there, but instead they're like,
Yeah. Well,
Nah.
it's supposed to be a well, so it should be filled with water, but it's dirt down there.
it's like
so
dirt.
it's-
She has to like dig to get to anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty. Joe says this got a 38 on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think that's fair.
I don't agree
Really?
with that. I
No.
like this movie, but
It's fine.
It's yeah,
Perfectly
there's some,
serviceable.
Janelle says she's seen it a dozen times. Now that maybe that's on the other side, the other extreme of this.
Yeah.
seen it
Like
a
I
dozen
like
times.
this.
She's
Am I
a
gonna watch it a
Sahara
dozen
head?
times?
Man.
Just Sahara head.
No, but if someone had it on and we were like, I'd be like, yeah, I'll watch it.
Sure, whatever.
I'm not
Whatever.
opposed to it.
Yeah.
We've watched some that'd be like, we need to turn.
You know what?
off.
This is the type of movie that you might catch on TV, and you're like, yeah, I'll watch this for
Mm-hmm.
a decent portion of it, and then I gotta make dinner or something.
Right.
Like-
Yes, exactly.
Like maybe I'll finish that later.
But yeah, nobody can find Ava. And at that same time, when they're questioning her little partner, picture number 12, this is when Dirk and Al, which they had been riding camels, they got the full clothing,
Yeah, they went
They-
all in.
Where did they get this
they
stuff?
make their way to the town. Also, it doesn't look like it here, but Dirk's green is the greenest green you could find. I
Yes.
feel like it really
It's
shows
like
you off.
neon green. This
Oh, it's
picture does
popping.
not do it justice.
No, it is
Yeah.
to the point of like right away you'd be like, whoa, what's that? Like in the middle of the desert. But
Yeah.
they see what's happening. They like pretend to be crazy old guys, go down there and then start attacking everyone. They kill almost everyone, and last minute Ava climbs up the well and like shoots someone who's about to like stab Dirk or something. Like she
Yeah.
kind of saves the day last minute.
Yeah.
Then they all steal a Jeep and start driving away to figure out like what the heck's going on.
This is when they first really put on the plot armor. The plot armor is put on. They run into a town of
Yeah.
trained soldiers, these two guys, and they kill every single one of them. No problem. This
Yes.
is crazier than
This-
Tom
yeah.
Cruise running
Yeah.
around in The Mummy on the rooftops. This is, we'll just run into the middle of these. This is like video
Well,
game
that's when
stuff.
you
Well,
always
yeah.
go. Well, they're
This-
supposed to be in the like where they black
Right.
seal. Like where
This
what
is
were
where
they?
this is where there's a. I was like, so wait, who are these guys? Because they can't shoot. They
Yeah.
can't like perform any kind of. I don't like the sidekick like runs at a sniper.
He does it one time. He's like
head
doing
on.
this, and I'm like, why would that not
like
have
that guy would just shoot you. I
You
don't
would just be
understand.
dead?
He's
like-
just dancing at him.
You're running across the sand at him.
I don't.
and
It somehow worked. He got to
Yeah.
him without
Yeah.
being seen. I don't know.
It's weird.
So they drive. They get to a canyon area. I don't know. It's cliff
Yeah,
area, and
yeah.
all of a sudden Dirk is like, "Get out! Put your hands up! Don't make sudden movements." You want to talk before this part?
Yes, when they're in
for
the
it.
Jeep driving,
Oh, when he's not
He-
watching.
he is
There's no
talking.
road, I guess, but
they're driving and he's talking to
Ava.
Ava next to him, and he honestly does not look
He does
where
this
he's going
for about a minute.
the whole scene.
Yeah.
Like he's clearly not driving because he
noticed that.
never
That's good.
looks.
And he's like, Ava, come on. And he's just straight on.
he
like,
never
Oh,
looks
you're
where
right.
he's going.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he
I
never
was
looks.
distracted by the sidekick is in the back. Like, again, he's like cleaning the gun that he just took off of the sniper
which
that he
are
like.
you supposed to be
cuckoo-
like, wow, they know what they're
cuckooed
doing?
I don't know.
Like,
I
is
don't
this
know.
guy like a trained killer or is he an absolute idiot? I don't
know.
understand.
Well, his hairdo doesn't help
His
hair
discern
is
that
just-
either.
just absolute idiot.
It looks like he has a wig on. Right?
it a
Does he have a
wig?
wig?
It
I
might
feel like
be a
it has
wig.
to be.
I don't think it is. I
Yeah.
think he's just.
Are
he
you
just,
sure?
It's just sticking
It looks
up.
like if I straightened your hair and it looks like a
It's
wig.
like
It's crazy.
I should have got a
greased
good
up
picture.
the old mop.
But they get to an area where there's like a bunch of people. They get out of the car, and all of a sudden, a bunch of people are around them, and they bring them
Like,
back to their village to like check out if they're
million people.
a lot.
come
Like
out
at
of the
first,
cliff. It's
at first I thought it
insane.
was like 5, and it all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's 200 people like watching the area.
Like,
I don't.
You've seen the scene in 1,000 different things, right? There's people on the cliffs and that sort
Yeah.
of thing. It's like,
They
okay,
come
we're gonna
out
get
of
out of the
hiding.
car. We're gonna chill out. Well, these are who we were trying to meet. But like 50,000 people on each side pop up with AK-47 and horses. Like
See, that's the
100
thing.
guys on horses.
How are
come
you
from
feeding
both
all
directions.
these horses?
I don't understand.
How are you feeding the horses? It is dry desert. There is nothing.
Well, especially when we get to the next plot beat, which is
we have
the
nothing.
well, no, the disease is in the water.
Yeah.
So all these
Yeah.
100,000 people that popped out of the mountains to attack them have been drinking the bad water.
And the horses.
Right, there's no other water source as far as I don't know.
And we find out that this is not a only person thing. It like would kill anything. So how are the horses still alive too?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's not. Maybe it only affects certain people because they're all drinking the same water.
Right.
I
That's
don't
what
know.
I'm trying to
So
say. I don't know.
They bring the doctor
Because it's
to
magical.
like
The death ship.
They bring the doctor to
It
a
is.
cave of sick people. They have like a ton of people are sick.
Yeah.
They all have the creepy eyes, so we know they all have the same thing. Once again, she doesn't have mask
It's
on.
still not
Nothing
clear
going on.
if it turns them into zombies or not.
We don't know.
Ben's holding out for the zombie.
She tests that little sample of water she got from the well, and maybe their water too or something. I don't remember.
I don't know.
But she
Yeah.
figures out that the water has some sort of poison or toxin in it.
Right.
And that's why everyone's sick. So
That's the big reveal.
that's how we know.
Yeah.
And during this, just a little side note, their boss, William H. Macy, is like figuring out how to find them. He's like pulling maps out and he's like, we gotta get these guys. So there's kind of this side, So that doesn't really do much.
Well, but
Doesn't
no,
matter.
because Dwight gets
Not
back
yet.
with the sample, and
Of
his
the
analysis
rust
of the
from the
sample
torpedo.
That's not
also
yet, though.
shows
We're
that
not there
the-
yet.
That's
We're
not,
not
yet.
there yet.
Okay,
No.
that's not
He's
happening.
still just saying, we gotta find them. Where are they? And he like,
He
I
shows up.
heard them talking
All
and
right.
this
Yeah.
and that.
We're not talking about
Can I go to the
like
bathroom really quick?
we're
though?
destroying the entire planet. Sure, hand me your. Where are we in
We're
the
right here.
analysis?
I'm missing a really good part though.
Really? I'll.
I'll go. We're on number 13.
Oh, okay. Oh, you are gonna miss. This is the craziest. So, did you get here, Ken? Were you in the
Damn it.
village with the rebels? And Al's playing
Yes.
soccer, and the soccer goes down the hill, rolls into the cave.
I did see this, but I want to back up. They get to this village of the rebels, which wasn't really clearly established that this is the other side of the Civil War. And the leader of the rebels is Scorpion, is it not?
No, but he has similar. I think it's not him, but he has similar facial.
He's got like face. I don't know what you would call them. They're like
scars
modifications
or something.
Yeah, it's like you would cut to create a scar for a specific
I-
reason.
I thought it was going to be important that the fact that he had the same facial features that
I thought it
Scorpion
was the same
did.
guy.
I don't think it's the same guy because he turns out to be a good guy, and Scorpion definitely turns out to be a bad guy.
Oh, does he? Okay, I didn't get that far.
Oh, you didn't get that far. You didn't see them battling in the.
No, but
okay.
Steve Zahn kicks a soccer ball into a cave, a random cave.
Yeah, he finds, and in there he finds cave paintings.
That look real fresh.
Well, they would have to be, wouldn't they? Because the ships could have only been there 150 years ago or whatever.
I mean, I guess that is fresh as far as cave paintings go, but yeah.
Right? As far as cave paintings go, that's what I don't understand is like why are there cave paintings from 1867?
That's my favorite part. The 1800 cave paintings.
1800s cave paintings. Let me.
You always see those. I could not find a picture. They were like, it looked like if today I took
What
marker.
are these? Is that Matthew?
That's
there?
Matthew. Yeah,
Yes.
Sir Matthew.
I don't know. This kind of looks like I found like Star Wars or
Here's that
something. Like I'm
sniper
not
rifle.
quite sure what's happening. The cave painting though was like so clear and like if I took chalk paint.
Yeah.
And,
Well, as
like,
cave
it was
paintings
very-
go, it's very fresh.
Look at
it's
it.
new.
You can
That's true.
see.
I guess
you
it's
can
not
see
thousands
the
of years old.
ironclad here, even in this crappy
Right here.
quality picture. Yeah,
There it
There it
is,
is.
buried in the sand.
yeah.
Did you say all this?
Well, we're in the cave with the cave paintings.
So somehow from the cave paintings, they figure out there's an underground river, because the area used to be like all river and water, and
Apparently, this is
so they figure out the underground river is bringing the poison water from wherever it's coming from to all the villages.
Yeah.
They somehow figure all this out from cave painting.
Yeah,
They
I
really
don't
play
know.
fast and loose with timing and history and how fast a river would dry up. And it's dried up, but it's also underground.
Because he's
and-
always like, oh, this whole area used to be filled with water, which maybe, but the whole underground river, I don't know. Nobody else seems to know about an underground river except for Ava.
Whatever, they really brush over this
They
part.
figure it out.
And it somehow the cave painting directs them exact. It's like a map. Somehow
There's a
cave painting
picture
is
of a
also
building.
a map.
It says there's a building
Like
Oh
by
yeah, it does show
next
a sort
to
of
where
like
the
temple.
ironclad is, but it doesn't give them any remote destination to go to. They just
No.
go
No,
off.
it definitely had longitude, latitude coordinates on there. I think.
Did it?
Come on, no.
Minutes and
right.
Okay, I was like, oh
Or
my
degrees
gosh.
and minutes.
Yeah,
He
so they
just
follow
says,
that
"Oh,
map.
we're looking for this building," and then they
Which,
ride
once
off
again,
into the
if
Yeah,
desert.
right,
you
then they go
walk
there.
through the desert, you're not going to just be
Yeah.
like, there it is.
Look,
Apparently you are.
there are not that many places in Mali to go. You go to this. There's this town. There's the rebel
Right.
base, and then there is the.
This building.
Like,
Desert
if someone
temple.
dropped you off in Midland, I wouldn't even be able to find you.
Look, that's because you're talking about real life. We're talking about this place
Okay.
where there's only key points of desert town. Should I
Well,
recap? Desert
no.
town, rebel base, hidden temple.
Well, they find
Solar array.
They find that weird building, and they look over and they're like, "That's where the ship should be, or the underground river, whatever the heck they're even looking
Yeah.
for at that point."
Yeah.
And there's
Well-
what looks like a solar energy plant there.
I think they make the connection in that cave that the ship is the ship of death, which has or brought the disease,
Oh, okay.
which means it came on that river. And so
Okay.
wherever the ship is, that's where we find the source of the disease, which even when they said that in the movie, I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense because it could be
Well,
anywhere
When I was
on
writing
this
this,
river.
I was like, that doesn't. I don't know how they connected it, but
Right.
Yeah.
So is this when they find the solar?
they find the
Yes.
solar energy plant, and right away Dirk is like, "There's no outgoing transmission." Like, he is an engineer too. He knows
Pinpoints it
all.
right away. This
Right.
is
Right
There's
away.
no
BS.
I don't see
substation.
any
There's no transmission
substation, yeah.
lines.
Right.
I don't see anything outgoing. So what are they doing?
Never
Something's
mind that I
fishy.
can't see anything underground, and if they decided to put it all underground, I would never know. But here we go.
Yeah. So they're like, we
Right.
got to get in. Okay, so this is where some more action starts. They
Anybody following along, like, just has to cope with the fact that we're now talking about a solar energy station. 5 seconds ago, we were in a cave,
Cave
looking
paintings.
at cave paintings.
cave paintings. Now we have to get into the solar energy.
And now we're trying to get
plant.
into a solar energy plant that apparently
Which
has
is in the
no
middle of
connection.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is what always happens in these things. There's ancient, maybe possible mystical powers that have eventually turned into futuristic or modern day.
No, never mind. It's a
science.
wind turbine. Wasn't a witch.
Yeah,
It was a
that
wind turbine.
always happens.
So their camels are staying next to
God,
There's, like,
I
trains.
hated this. This is where I turned it off today.
Ken.
They
their
noticed
camels are
they noticed that the only way in is to get onto a train that just
Yeah, they
happens
gotta
to be
sneak
coming
in.
down the tracks.
Which-
They
Yeah.
ride the camels up. They park their camels.
Park
You
'em.
don't see it, but they
No.
wait for the train to start to pass. They're buried under the sand.
which
They
I
hop
don't know how
up.
that last person.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. And never mind that you could have just ran and got on the train. They get on their camels, start
yeah,
a
they have to ride
camel
to.
race
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
to get onto it. It was just it was a very long
And then
action
jump
scene
onto
that
the
was
train.
unnecessary.
I like that they were hiding under the sand, just like in
That was
Dune.
out of control.
Who are the
Sure.
people from Dune who hide under the sand when
I
they
don't
attack?
know.
Not the Sardaukar, right? The
The locals. Darn it, it doesn't matter what
I
they're
don't remember.
called.
what are they called?
But yeah, they pop out from under
Freemen.
the sand. Yeah, the Fremen.
Quinn's got it. Ryan Quinn. Freeman.
Yeah, the Fremen.
Oh, okay.
I always thought it was a very poor
Freeman.
free men. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like very subtle. Very subtle.
Poisoned by the spice.
So
Right.
they jump onto the train and then they go in the train, which is like, once again, you're hoping it's not full of like who knows what.
It's got big old biohazard signs on the
Yeah,
side of it.
and they're
they
like-
just hop
they just-
into this
Right.
Yeah.
these tanks.
And we'll find out later that these trains carry toxic waste. That's what they're for.
it's right there on the
So-
side. I don't know.
I don't know why they were like, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
This is when you find out Rudy made it back to the ship and he's checking water samples.
Oh,
He's
good night,
doing
Joe.
his rough
Thanks for
thing.
tuning in.
Finally.
Sorry to cut you off, Em.
No, you're fine.
See you,
Joe's
Joe.
taking off. See you later.
Okay, so they make it into the plant. They
This
find
is where I stopped. So everything, I'm just going to listen.
Okay.
So you didn't ever see the purpose of this solar facility?
So
No.
I did not find the picture I wanted to find. Number 14 though shows the plant. It's a solar power, but it vapes and
It's a big
gets rid
vape.
of toxins.
It's
This
a-
is literally the scene I ended on. I kid
Okay.
you not. They
yeah,
pull
so
in
they
on the
kind of are
train,
like, what is
and it
this?
was this.
So
Okay.
they
It
see
is a solar-powered toxic waste disposal facility, and you find out that they are being paid large amounts of money to dispose of toxic waste
Mm-hmm.
from other countries. That's the whole deal
Sure.
here.
Okay.
Oh wait, but so they show them like disposing, whether it's burning or whatever
Yeah,
using
it goes
the.
in here and lights up.
But then they also show like a little forklift being like beep beep, and he goes around to a room. He has like a what's it called? It's not a bucket. A can.
Barrel?
What?
Barrel?
Barrel. Thank you. I can't think. he he brings it into a room, and it is like Ben said. It is like Aladdin's.
The Cave of Hidden Wonders.
It is out of control in that room. It is.
What?
It is barrels stacked. Some are oozing. Some are tipped over. They also have some like nice patio lights set.
So, okay, we found the source of what's poisoning the water supply of everybody. The upstairs, they have a very high-tech solar toxic waste
Whatever,
disposal
yeah.
facility. It, however, cannot handle the volume of toxic
Sure.
waste that they have purchased.
Classic.
So they have a they have a storage room downstairs.
Storage
Now,
room is a hot mess.
based on what they have upstairs, which is a very rather modern, organized operation, you would think that their storage facility would be similarly organized. However, it literally looks like when Aladdin walks into the Cave of Wonders,
And you're just like,
it is an endless
It's kooky.
cave. It's like it was clearly like CG made.
Yeah.
It is like an
Yeah.
endless cave
Of barrels.
that are just stacked on top of each
I mean,
other.
some are tipped over, some are like oozing out.
It's insane. Of course, there's people in there working for some reason.
And I think they're like prisoners from that local village.
And it has this weird big like vault door that like swings
Yeah.
in a very strange way.
It also has legit patio lights set up, like as if they were like, oh, we forgot to put lights in here. And someone like strung some lights
So
up,
there
which
we
is weird.
Oh,
it
really?
was never made super like I am clarifying it for you guys more than the movie clarifies it.
No, they show it for a second,
They show
and they're
this
like,
weird like photoshopped picture of
Yeah.
an endless cave of leaking
Wonders.
barrels. They do one zoom in of a barrel leaking, which is like super
well,
weird.
that's when Ava looks in and she's like, that's it. That's the problem. And like the door closes. And that's it. And you're like, okay, I guess that's it. It doesn't really explain. Then, when they like turn around or something, that rich boss guy from the museum finds them and like takes them away or something.
They get like knocked out.
Is that what? I don't remember.
So the Ava is now kidnapped by the corporate guy, and the two of them are knocked out, and they'll wake up
Yeah, they wake up
in a
the
moment,
back of a truck.
handcuffed to the back of a truck.
And of course, he kept Ava because, like, she's hot. So he was like, "You'll stay with me."
I guess.
Sure.
And these two
Yeah.
goons will go in the back of a truck. That's when we find out Rudy's testing the toxins from the water. He
The
finds
rust,
out that
right?
yeah, it's all poisonous. It's in the river. Soon the river
Oh,
will go
no.
into the ocean. Within 6 months, the whole world will like be dead.
Yeah, it's
That's
like a
essentially
ticking
what
time
he
bomb.
has, like a computer, and he's like beep, and it's like boop, 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 boop.
Global death. Right. There's
Yeah.
a map of the world that gets more and more red.
And he's like, we got 6 months. They tell some government guy who's like, oh, is that the only problem? Like he's goofing
He was
around.
like goofing around until they showed him that map, and then things got
And then
real
he's
serious.
like, shit. And so they're kind of trying to figure that out. Which is weird. So then, yeah, Dirk and Al wake up handcuffed in the back of a truck bed. And they're like driving through the desert. Ava's in the office with the boss guy. She tells them about all the trouble, like how it's poisoning the water and there's an underground river and it's going to the villages. This is when he legit looks confused. He's saying, no, this is like the newest, best technology. There's no way that's happening. He's like, sometimes we store stuff, but it's underground so that it can't leak. And she's like, well, there's an underground river. And he's like, not possible. But then
Their
he runs.
underground storage facility is
It's a hot
it is
mess.
insane. I wish you had gotten a picture
I'm
of it.
so
I'll see
sad.
it.
Outrageous.
Here, I'm gonna find it.
Yeah,
here.
Ken, if you find it, share. But he legit looks
Uh-oh.
confused about it. So then you're like, well, then why? We can get into this after. But like, why was he trying to take out doctors left and right if he honestly thought his
Right.
method was clean and worked good?
I didn't understand this. Like what he has done up to this point and what he certainly does after this point, none of it makes any sense.
Doesn't make sense.
That like he was unaware that they were killing that he's the source of the plague, his facility.
Yeah,
he seemed unaware.
he did not-
And yet he's been trying to kill everybody who's trying to find it.
And he's like, hey, keep your disease peeps under wrap. So if you think
Huh.
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
What is happening?
There's a kitty
like,
party
kids.
behind you.
I heard weird noises. Dirk and Al unscrew. Apparently, there's big screws right next to them. The bed of the truck.
He uses the Confederate coin.
Oh,
He
I
uses the
didn't know
gold
that.
Confederate coin.
And then they like push the bed.
You know, gold.
back.
That's super
Yeah.
Right.
strong material.
strong.
That can definitely work as a
Exactly.
screwdriver.
And the entire bed of the truck is held on by
Just
two
falls
screws
Two
which
screws.
they can reach.
And it comes off. So then they're walking around the desert, still handcuffed and dragging
So
the
the
bed of
guys-
the truck.
The guys driving the truck just let the bed of the truck fall off?
Well, they acted like they didn't notice, and I think later they're like, well, they got out, but they're in the desert.
Sure.
So I
okay.
think they're just assuming they'll die. I don't
Maybe.
know.
Like this is the point where
It's getting wild.
this is
At
one of
this
my
point.
last notes actually is I looked at Dirk and I looked at Al. Now Dirk is Matthew McConaughey's sort of longer curly hair. Al's hair is like you guys said a
It's a
straight
wig.
sticking up
Like an
Yeah.
and I was like
80s
I have
hairband wig.
I
Yeah.
somehow have the same hair as both of these people.
You did. You were like, if you merged those characters, that was you. So the boss guy has Ava, but he's on the phone with the general, and she's like, yeah, she's dead. Like, he's telling him she's dead, but he's keeping her alive.
Ah.
So you're like, okay, maybe he's not that bad.
Secret girlfriend, I guess.
Then he goes to the general when he's talking to him, and he says, he's like, maybe we should just like put things on hold for a second and check out what's going on. So once again, sounds like he didn't know anything was happening. He wants to stop production and everything to like see what's happening. Is it really going on? Is our cat going to be trouble right now? If he turns around, Ben, you have to run at him. So then, sorry. But the general the general is essentially like, screw you, I want my money, I don't care.
Well, he says you can close down the facility, but you still got to pay me what you were paying me. That's
Yeah.
what he says.
Oh, okay.
Then Dirk and Al, like, they've been getting that truck bed down. Are you going to go yell at our cat before he causes trouble? They fall down a hill. They essentially sled down the hill on the truck bed.
Oh,
And where
come
they
on.
fall is next to that plane. Man, Ben, I don't know how your picture thing works. Well, wait. It looks like a plane that's been ripped apart for like 100 years. It probably crashed a while ago. It is like paper, essentially like blowing
Yeah.
in the wind. It is the shell of a plane. And they're like, oh man, look at this. And then it cuts to a bunch of tools spread out, like they undid all their stuff.
Oh no, not a montage.
And they
at 90
figured out-
minutes in, I don't need
they
a
figured
montage.
out how to windsurf with the plane in the desert. And
Wait,
they fix
so they
it
don't
up.
They don't fix the plane.
No,
Sorry,
but
you
they
tell
kind
me.
of fix it up enough to like windsurf across the desert. I mean,
What does that even mean?
well, we have a picture. I just
Do
need
the
Ben to come
engines
back.
run?
No, I think they're just like pulling
what's the sail?
strings and like
Just-
one of the
it's just
wings.
big enough?
I think. I'm not sure. It just shows them
Oh,
me like
no.
woo, and they're like going
Oh
across the desert.
no!
And they head back to that village that had like all the sick people so that they can ask for help to go into the plant to
That
try to
was it?
stop him. So, well, it lasts a little bit longer, but I mean, like,
That's all
that's
they
what it
windsurf
is.
for? Jeez.
yeah, they windsurf to like a gas station, and then I think he actually, I'm not even kidding, he calls their boss, and I
Okay.
think his boss guy says something like, oh, well, by the time we get to you, like, you'll either
Keep
be dead or
on
alive, you know, like whatever kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he kind of tells him what's up. And
No,
then while
not like
that's
a phone,
happening,
like rip the gnar sincere.
in the background though, Al is fighting with the gas station guy because they have their like windsurfing plane in the way. I don't know who's getting gas
I
up there,
hate
but
this movie all of a sudden. I'm glad I didn't watch this.
can you do picture 15 and 16?
Tell me about this insane windsurfing.
I'm trying to describe it. It's not going
What
well.
the
Talking
hell?
about
Okay,
this?
first of all, I thought the plane was like way bigger.
No,
So, okay.
it's not. But it's like
Look at 'em
legit
on there.
paper, like blowing in the breeze, like thin.
It's still stupid, but I thought it was like a C-42 or whatever. And he was
No,
like,
that wouldn't make
I
sense.
thought he was riding it like a chariot, where he
like-
was like whipping the engines or something.
And then 16, if you can do the next
Oh,
one.
the
I
next
think
one?
it's Matthew McConaughey up. Oh, wait, never mind.
Oh, that's old.
Okay,
We
so
saw
hold
that
on.
car.
So they go back to the village. They ask him if they'll help like take down the evil plant. They essentially say like no thanks. And then he says, "Can I borrow your car?" And that's when
Gotcha.
there's the classic car scene.
Yeah,
Because they have taken that car from the general guy like a long
Yeah.
time ago.
yeah,
Which is it has zero dust on it. Like they're keeping it in
whatever.
prime condition.
I didn't understand that. Like, it's not in a. It's an outdoor storage. It's so.
Storage.
It's so. Could they
Looks
clean
great.
it
It
every
is
day?
like-
Is it somebody's job to wipe it down, to detail it every day?
Oh, I hate detailing. I don't know, but then Dirk and Al dress up. They drive up to the plant, pretending to be the general guy, and when they get close enough, then they like trick the guards with guns and get into the plant. But I don't know where they got these costumes. They're like dressed like generals. And
Doesn't matter.
later they're like, "Yeah, we like dressed up." Who was like, "While you take the car, would you like my
Use these.
costumes?" Like,
Yeah.
what? Where do they get those? But they get in there. Nobody's in there. They magically figure out that they plan on blowing up the plant so they can like get rid of the evidence and walk away.
Right.
And-
This is the corporate guy's plan
Yeah.
to get out of this whole thing.
And-
He's just gonna have the whole thing self-destruct.
But they like essentially make this plan up. Like no one actually says yes, that's a plan. So then Al is like, "I'll find the bomb. There's got to be a bomb," which is like,
course.
does there? And you go get the girl, which once again weird. That,
He does say, "You go get the girl, and I'll get the bomb."
And Dirk is like, "Okay," and like gives him a
Yeah.
high five and walks away. So Ava is so now they are up on top of what is that called?
Of course,
So-
the bomb is at the top of the solar array tower.
No, but that's where the helicopter is taking off. So they have all the
Ah.
mirrors not pointed towards it right now because you would be burnt alive.
Right. It is not the. It's not a array of solar cells or solar panels. It's one of the
They're
plants
mirrors.
where it's a mirrors that point
It's-
to a tower that
point-
has molten salt in it that you make
Yeah.
steam and stuff. I didn't understand how they like use that to incinerate stuff, but whatever. Up there it is on the top of one of
Neither
those
did
towers.
the author.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
How hot? I would love to look up how hot is it at the top
I
of one of
don't-
those salt
yeah.
towers,
idea.
at where all those mirrors are. Anyway, they're up there hanging out. The mirrors are not pointed at the tower
They're
at the
not
moment.
pointed. Still would be effing hot in the middle of the desert. Let's just say that in general.
They're not pointed there yet.
The boss guy is
Right.
trying to take Ava in a helicopter to escape. Once again, I don't know why he's bringing her with. Like, does he think she's all of a sudden gonna be like, you know
Should've
what?
shot her
I
a
do
long
like
time
you.
ago. Yeah.
Like, what?
That is what he's hoping.
It's weird. Last minute, Dirk jumps out and starts attacking the helicopter. And then Scorpion comes out. He's
We
back.
haven't seen him the whole time. Here he comes.
He's back.
He's returning.
He's attacking. Ava
Really?
somehow gets out of the
Yes.
helicopter. Scorpions find Dirk, and finally the boss guy is like, fuck it. And he just leaves Ava and gets out of there with the helicopter. He's like, I don't know why I'm trying to bring her anyway.
Yes, Quinn to the rescue. 570 degrees C at the top of one of those
God damn
solar
it,
array
Quinn,
towers.
what does that mean?
Hot enough to make steam. That's what it means.
It means you're not walking around up there.
Yeah.
So then Dirk is hanging. I didn't save this photo. I should have. Dirk is like hanging from the edge of the tower, and the guy either knocks him off or he falls off. And when the guy looks down, Dirk is gone. So you're like, whoa, he's dead. Like, he's gone. But at the
Yeah.
same time, the guys in the helicopter like switching the mirrors and all this shit. So all the mirrors on it are like doing some weird
Now
fluttering.
they're pointing at the tower now.
They're starting to point. But Dirk essentially like went into the mirrors. which doesn't
He
make
would have
sense.
got cooked.
He would have, and then when the mirrors come back out, they're like moving around. He like climbs up them like a little ladder back up to the top.
What?
And so when he's still down and Scorpion's looking over to try to see if he's dead, it is so bright on them. Like you said, you would be
They
dead.
would all be roasted.
And the guy is just doing this, and he's just putting his hand up like
Right.
as if it's a
Looking
little
around.
bright, like on your windshield,
Yeah.
when really he is full-blown white, like blasting. Nobody seems to mind. Dirk climbs up the mirrors. Once again, wouldn't they be so effing hot? It would be insane. He climbs up. He either kills Scorpion or throws him off or something.
He must throw him off the roof.
It's wild when they do all this. It
I
doesn't
don't
make any
know.
sense. And them like shielding their eyes like the sun's a little bright.
It was very. My last notes I wrote was it went off the rails with the plane.
Yeah.
That's the
I'm
last
glad
thing I
turned
wrote.
it off.
So while this is happening, Al is inside. He's finding there's like the barrels are going to the incinerator and he's opening them up and he finds out where the
Why?
bombs are. And he last minute pulls them out and jumps off the incinerator right when it's like going off, which essentially is a space rocket flame directly next to his face still. And he's like holding bombs, which you would still get
Oh,
burnt
that's
alive.
right. It's like
it doesn't
a,
make sense.
It's like a jet engine blasting out because remember he jammed something in the door
Is that what he
to the
did? To,
incineration
like, jump
chamber
out?
so it didn't close.
There's still so much fire, you'd still be burnt.
It was
to
so
a
much.
crisp.
It blasted a hole in the side of the facility, and they show it from the helicopter view of
Okay.
the jet engine exploding out of the side.
But he's essentially next to it.
He's like 5
fine.
feet from it. He's fine.
And he's holding bombs, like a backpack full of bombs. Okay. Ava and Dirk are like joking around on top of that helicopter thing, which is weird. Then they all get in the car, and there is a new helicopter full of the general, and it's after them.
I don't want to get all
my
engineering on you,
gosh.
but Quinn does bring up a point here. You
What?
cannot. The thermal oxidizer at our plant here that just burns natural gas is much hotter than this solar oxidizer.
Wow.
I don't understand how it creates a jet engine.
I don't know,
It
but it
confuses
shows
me.
that.
That's the movie part of it. You already said all it has to do is create steam to be good.
Maybe
All right.
that's the magic part of it then.
Doesn't make any sense.
So
This is the magic.
They're driving and a helicopter's chasing them. They're in that like old convertible.
Where are they going to
which
hide?
Doesn't. So they go into some sort of like village area and they're driving around, which still doesn't
They're
make
back
sense.
by the temple, the desert temple. Remember, there's
Are
only
they?
a couple places in this desert. There's a town.
That's true.
There's
They
the
go
the
back to the.
They're back at
Alright.
the desert temple because they left the solar array.
So, but when they're there at one point,
I love this part.
Dirk is driving.
This is my favorite part of the movie.
Ava's in the front, Al's in the back, like with a gun. And Dirk goes, Al, I need a, what's he say? I need a door. And he essentially takes a machine gun, goes, and does like a door shape, and then he smashes through it. And that's how they get out the other side of the
In
village.
like a
Like-
1.5 foot thick,
Right.
like
Doesn't make any sense.
stone wall.
And he's
like,
and he just smashes out through it. So that's when you knew things were getting good. Then he says to Ava, I hope you don't throw like a girl. Another little comic relief
Classic.
for everyone.
Yeah.
So he has Ava throw the bombs at the side of a sandhill. Al shoots them, and then it like blocks the helicopter with smoke and sand.
but she does throw very poorly.
Does she?
Actually, she does a very bad job of throwing, and he later then says,
he say
"Turns
that?
out you do throw like a girl." He says
I
that
don't
to her later.
remember that.
Yeah, because her throws are so. She's trying to like throw like bombs or whatever
Oh, I'm
at
sorry.
the helicopter. It never even comes close.
Was she supposed to throw at the helicopter? I thought it was on the sand she was supposed to
No,
throw.
that's how bad she was throwing.
No, I don't think so.
Well, it comes up. It
He
does.
said to do it at the sand.
They seemed like bad throws.
I don't care. Either way, once they stop and they think
Can't
the
believe this
helicopter's
movie's
not
still
after
going.
them.
Think,
I know.
Yeah.
think of
I'm
how much
sorry.
you missed,
Like,
Ken.
oh my gosh.
So
Thank
then, what
goodness.
was in
Like
the
an hour.
sandhill? What do you think was in the sandhill,
The
Ken?
ironclad.
Yeah, yes.
Bingo, baby.
I totally forgot about it, to be honest.
So then,
So did everybody else.
they're like, we should get in. We should hide in that.
You know what?
right?
This looks like a shot from like Dune.
Star
Looks like
Wars?
Star Wars.
Star
Yeah.
Wars, yeah.
That looks like Jabba's ship. This flotilla.
They go in the ship. There's bullets going right through the ship. By this point, there are
It's
jeeps.
not
There are
very
tanks.
ironclad anymore?
There are
Yeah.
no. It's like a tiny
Plus,
wood board
bullets
is all
are
they
not
have.
wads of lead
They're
anymore.
not the same.
You're right.
They're
At this point, there's
actual-
an entire army chasing them.
There's an entire army, and of course, Dirk is like, "Man, we got 4-foot steel sides," and it's like, brrr, and it goes right through the boards. so then they're like, "Well, what do we have? We have a cannon, bitches. Let's shoot the
Classic.
helicopter with a 150-year-old cannon. That should
Yeah.
go smooth." So he tells Ava to find the wicks. She falls through the floor, finds all the dead bodies and a shit ton of gold.
What?
and
Why
finds
is there
the wicks.
gold on it?
Remember those boxes
Remember all
you were
those
talking
boxes?
about?
Oh, I
They're
thought those
all
were the
full
coins.
of
They're
the
all full
coins.
of gold
Well,
coins.
Oh, they are. Okay.
yes. So they go up. They like shoot
Tons
once, it
of gold
doesn't work.
coins.
They shoot again, and the cannon is lined up perfectly with the front of the helicopter and goes right through the glass. It goes right into the
Oh my
helicopter,
goodness, oh my
which is
goodness. All right. Like, first of all,
Perfect.
there's
Right
so
in.
many things
Perfect.
that are so good about this scene. If you remember from the introduction, when we see the actual soldiers shooting the cannons inside the ironclad in the beginning, they say it's about 150 yards. So the guy takes the charge and he bites off
Right.
like so
cuts it.
much.
to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
he cuts it or something. He
Yeah.
cuts the right amount, and so 150 yards is this much charge, right? And of course, Dirk, they say the same thing. Okay, it's about whatever, and he like does the same thing and like quick. It's so quick, it happens so fast, but he does the same thing. Like somehow he's an expert in cannons.
He knows how to shoot and also a helicopter. Like, give me a break.
This
You're
cannonball. Previously, all the cannonballs were like real. They were like a cannonball like has a lot of force to it.
That's a
Fucking
bowling
cannonball.
ball.
This
I mean,
cannonball, it just
worse
goes
than a
through,
bowling
it
ball.
goes through the windshield of this helicopter and then bounces off the back wall of the cockpit and
No.
falls onto the floor of the
No.
cockpit.
Also,
No.
it just makes a small
Yeah.
hole in
it
the
would just
windshield.
rip right through whatever.
Like
I mean,
it doesn't even break the rest of the glass. It's like they just have like a little hole and they're like they're laughing about it,
the
and then
helicopter's aluminum. Probably,
Yeah, it doesn't make
right?
any sense.
It's just gonna rip through it.
it blows up
Of
after
course, somehow it had some
10
sort of like
seconds?
fireworks
What?
fuse inside
Oh,
of
it's
it.
a bomb. Even
I
worse.
guess. I don't know.
Just let it rip right
and they
through and
also
let him
didn't
crash.
explain that instead of just having it crash. And everyone
All
else surrenders
cannonballs
right away.
explode.
Which they're
Yeah.
like, that shouldn't have worked. I can't believe this happened. And when they get out, they realize like that 5,000 people from the village were all like up on the hill behind them on their horses, which is why everyone else like surrendered.
That's why the army guys down here
Right.
surrendered,
Gotcha.
or down here, because at first they were
Okay.
turned the other way, and they were
Yeah,
like,
they're,
I don't know,
like,
maybe they're
facing
just
out.
scared because we killed their general or whatever. But then they turn around and no, they're backed up by
the peeps.
the Rohirrim has arrived.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So then it kind of cuts to like, hey, what's happening now? Back at William H. Macy's boat, he's like back to work. They're doing their thing. They're saying how, man, thank God those antitoxins worked when we put them in the river. Like they're kind of summing everything up
Just-
super quick.
Yeah, just button that
Which
up.
also, if that was the case, like why were we freaking out an hour ago about 6
Yeah.
months to death? Like just when you just whatever.
Yeah.
And then some reporters like, well, what about the gold they found? And he's like, gold, I wish. So they like hid the fact that they found a bunch of gold.
Sure.
They
Classic.
cut to the village. The village has the gold in that cave of wonders,
Back by the cave paintings,
by the
they
cave
have all the
paintings.
gold
Nice.
hidden.
Nice.
which is great. But isn't it going to be real obvious when they're paying for everything in Confederate gold? Like,
right.
My favorite thing is the way that they show that the gold is down there.
That
is he
too is
kicks
like
the
you-
soccer ball down there again.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
got to
come
go
on.
get it, and there it is.
but also the gold is not stored in any proper way. It is like
Just
if you
dumped
threw
on the ground.
buckets, if you just threw them in from the entry of the cave, it is just like pouring out. It is Cave of Wonders style that time. But it would be very obvious when you're like, here's some
But,
money for food, and they're like, what is this? Why are you always paying in this way? You can't
in a
do
much
that.
smaller scale, though. Well, I don't think did they give the gold to the locals, and Dirk got a cut, or was he just storing it there?
I think they gave it to them because like their village got screwed over by poisonous water and everyone was dying, and they said they had no food and they were gonna leave.
All
That's
right.
fair. Yeah.
Dirk and Ava are on a beach, like, doing stuff, if you know what I mean.
Nice.
That's when he said she throws like a girl.
Oh, okay.
Classic.
And at the very end, someone who owed William H. Macy a favor serves the mean boss guy.
That was
he
like
serves him water at a
90 minutes in.
restaurant.
Yeah.
And he, that guy that
I remember.
before he talked to him, he serves him water like he's at the restaurant, like he's the server, and walks away and goes down an elevator, like holding the water. So clearly it's like the poisonous water. And the one
Gotcha.
guy's like drinking it down, and that's kind of his fate. And that's the end.
Yeah.
That's it,
Nice.
huh? Wow.
And that is
18 hours later of
Sahara.
us telling you.
Not the worst movie we've seen. Probably the best.
It is.
I think it's the best movie that we've seen. It makes me want to squeeze in some more good ones.
Surprises.
Good,
Because
but
I
goofy.
liked it so much. Let's keep Matthew McConaughey going around the same time period. We should watch Reign of Fire with him and
Ooh,
Christian Bale.
I have honestly always wanted
I
to
don't
see that
remember
movie.
that.
It's about dragons, but it's very like
I wonder if
real.
It
he's
is
in that?
Air
it's
quotes.
post-apocalyptic, and because somebody woke up dragons and dragons like took over the world.
What year is
Yeah.
that?
It's probably
around
about
the same time.
Same time?
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet it
Do
was
not remember that
2006.
Let's keep Reign of Fire going, or Matthew
2002.
McConaughey going. We'll do Reign of Fire.
2002? Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. He's like super young then.
It's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
I don't have the only thing that really came out of this movie is I got another Juan Cabrillo audiobook to listen to while I run. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
There you go.
I just don't understand. Sorry. Why the boss, business guy, whatever, if he didn't think his plant was causing trouble, then why at the beginning was he like, we gotta get rid of this doctor and you gotta contain your people who are sick? He
Right.
didn't think it did anything. So why is he talking about sick people? Doesn't make any sense.
Well, they definitely knew there was
I
sick
know.
people, but he didn't know where they were coming from. He thought it literally was a plague, I think. And that's he
But
was like,
still, why would you be like, we should kill them all? That doesn't make
because
sense.
I got the
Wouldn't
impression
cause
that
more trouble?
their waste disposal facility was supposed to be secret, and the plague was drawing attention to where the
it?
facility is, and he didn't want it to be like.
Why does it have to be a secret if it's like fine and good?
I don't think it was fine and good. I think it was sort of illegal.
Oh, I gotcha. That's still, I don't know.
That's the impression. That's my only assumption.
I'm sorry I didn't get the Aladdin barrels. Man, I'm so mad
Yeah.
about that.
Next time.
Darn.
For
All right.
Sahara
But-
2.
Alright.
Back
Sahara
in the
2.
saddle.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in live on the Twitch stream, and for everybody who listened to the audio of this. Thanks for tuning in. And for more Day Night Dice content, you can always check us out playing Gloomhaven on Twitch, or the YouTube streams, or the podcast on YouTube, or the actual YouTube feed. And we'll be back with a normal podcast in 2 weeks. So until then, we'll see you later and have a good night.
Bye.
See ya.